welcome back to the layout. This week's update, I wanted to kind of do a follow-up to the changes that were made in Mill Valley on the last video and kind of go over a few plans I have for the car manufacturer, just kind of where the track might lie for that and a few other things. So this week's really been a lot of testing out the track work, making sure everything's working as planned and you know, does the new plan work properly, and we can definitely say we're thrilled with it. Me and my sons are. One thing that is going to change here, some more track's going to be added in this interchange area. And what I mean by that is, through doing some interchange of freight cars, I noticed, when you actually think it out in your head, if, for example, you're pulling box cars out of here, you pull them back, and then you shove through. Well, when you go to bring them in the auto facility, your engine's going to be backing in and it's going to be trapped. So need to change that. So I thought, well, I'm just going to add another crossover on this interchange. That'll alleviate that. Then you can run around your train. Well, problem with that is that's going to then shorten the area that I can actually store cars for interchange. So I don't really want to do that because I like the area I have now. Right now I have about 9 or 10 freight cars in there. They're only 40 foot or 50 foot long cars, but still with the auto racks or the 86 foot box cars, you can get about 5 in there. 4 is more comfortable. So I don't want to lose that. I don't want to make that any shorter. So what I'm going to do instead is right here where this turnout ends, I'm going to do a right-hand turnout, or I should say right here where the crossover ends. I'm going to do a right-hand turnout that's going to meet up to this track here, and there'll be a left-hand turnout right there coming back in, which I'll get to here in a moment. But that will then create essentially a runaround track. So, you can come through the crossover, shove your box cars up through here, uncouple, come back through the turnout and whatnot, and meet up on the other side of the turnout and then properly shove them into the facility. I think that makes a lot more sense, makes it a lot easier, because otherwise you're running around the whole layout to get on the right side of your freight cars. That doesn't really work that good. So that's what I'm going to do there, budget permitting. I'm going to go ahead now and do a little handheld here for a moment, kind of give you an idea of what the track may look like coming into the automobile industry. Okay, I've repositioned to the other side of Mill Valley to kind of give a better view of the initial mock-up of the track plan leading into the auto facility. Bear in mind, I'm not going to be using this black road bed steel rail. I just have some of it left over from a prior purchase that was ill-advised. But for now, it works really well for track planning. So for now, that's its purpose. This track is essentially that runaround track that I talked about in the last segment. That right-hand turnout will come off of the crossover there and join up here. Left-hand turnout about where this curve is here, leading back to where the auto racks will be stored. Once this straightens out, I'm going to have a turnout. So we have 2 tracks on that side of the building for the auto racks. Right here where this curve is, in this area, another left-hand turnout leading into where the box cars are going to go. It'll straighten out, and again, another turnout to give us 2 tracks for those cars as well. The idea being probably fitting 4 of each, 4 box cars, 4 auto racks on the other side of the building there. I think that's enough, to simulate the operations. I think that would be good for now. Can certainly always extend under the stairs if I feel like it. But for now, I think that's good. I should mention I did rip out the hill here. I finished doing that. It is sitting over there. You can kind of see it. Using that foam wherever I can and picking up trees that I can use in the background, stuff like that, to salvage anything I can from that. This structure here, basically I think I'm going to try to scratch build the facility. When you look around at kits, Walthers does a kit that's about the size of this building, but shorter. This is 1 foot by 2 foot and about 8 inches high. The kit, I believe, is 4.5 or 5 inches. And, runs what, 70, $80. And I just don't think that makes sense. And plus, to have a building big enough, it's not just going to be one structure, it's going to be multiple. So I don't want to go out and buy 2 of the same kit. Buildings look identical. It just doesn't make any sense. So I'm going to go for scratch building. I've done some small things in the scratch building realm prior. Didn't have a lot of experience with it, so it didn't go that great. But I think now I've learned a lot from that. I'm ready to take my time and do something a little bit bigger. So that building there is just kind of a stand-in for now, but it's going to get, it's going to get my best attempt to make it into a facility. Another building is going to be on this side of the tracks, probably a little shorter, but maybe a little longer. It may come out more to here and extend all the way back. And then probably have a smaller building. It's all going to be one building, I should say, but a connecting piece here in the back to kind of connect these 2 separate factory buildings, essentially. May also do an overhang over these tracks here, just to kind of simulate what that would look like. So that's kind of the idea for this area for Mill Valley Motors. I know, a really original name, but I think that's what we're going to go with, unless you have a better idea. You can drop that in the comments if you want, but I think Mill Valley Motors just kind of makes sense, right? As far as what I actually did to the layout this week, besides kind of ripping some things out and laying some temporary track, I did fill in some foam here, ripped out all the old trees, repainted, did some ground cover in there. Just very basic things. It's eventually going to be tree and bush covered. It's going to be much higher and kind of be a scenic divider there that extends off of the existing one. So that's kind of what I did this week here. Not a whole lot going on. The track, that's going to kind of be a down the road thing, budget purposes, but also convincing the wife purposes. I think some of you guys might know what that's like. She's very supportive, but we got kids and stuff like that we got to take care of first. So the track's kind of on a long run right now. The building material, I should mention, it's not styrene that I'm going with for this right now. This is actually like sign material that you would buy at Lowe's or Home Depot or Ace. Much cheaper than styrene. It is a little thicker as I zoom in here. So we're going to see how that goes. I know some people have used it in the past as well and gotten some really good results. So I'm going to give it a shot. I got like a 2 foot by 3 foot piece for about $10. So the cost, I bought 3 of them total. This is one sheet that I used for this building. Got 3 of them total, and worst case scenario, the buildings act as mock-ups / practice. If we get lucky enough and they look good enough, perfect, but we'll see. But for now, that's kind of what we're looking at here. I should also mention before I wrap up, I talked about the building, talked about the track plan, but also I think one of the more fun things to do in this hobby, at least for me, is when you have a blank canvas like this and your mind just kind of wanders to what you want to include in the scene. And, today I caught myself thinking of, what would a facility look like if you're going there to work, right? Like, where are you going to park your car? What's it going to be like getting into the building? So, goofy details that maybe people think of way earlier in the process than me, but that was kind of coming to my head today. So, we have the idea of where the buildings are going to be. Right here, maybe where this old dirt path is, would be the entrance for the employees. Maybe have some gates there. Maybe there's a booth or something where you got to show your, ID or proof of employment or whatever, so you can get in there and park. Maybe turns to the right here. and you have the parking lot for the employees, just things like that. Maybe the sign for Mill Valley Motors is sitting right outside here as well. As there, probably be a main road off of the layout that isn't modeled, but, it'd give you an idea that you're going into the company entrance. And then obviously just all the other details, forklifts, semis probably in the back, over here. Probably have some docks in the back of the buildings where semis and box trucks come in and drop stuff, pick stuff up, whatever it may be. Probably more dropping off than anything, but just to give it more of an idea that something's going on here. And with the amount of space I have, to make this a focal point of the layout, there's a lot of room to be able to simulate a lot of that stuff once I clear out all my junk here. But yeah, so I wanted to insert that here at the end as well, just to kind of give an idea. Maybe you guys can start seeing what's inside my head for this update and why I kind of went with the track plan change. So more to come on this in the future. Like I said, it's budget permitting, but certainly going to work on these buildings in the meantime, just kind of doing the dimensions, doing some research. I should mention, this is not a prototypical layout. It's, mostly freelance based off of, vague ideas of places I've been to or grew up in. Kind of my, I don't know, prototype that I'm copying or kind of getting some inspiration from, I should say, is there was a GM factory in Lordstown, Ohio. That is, I think, under different ownership now, but just some Google Earth images, Google search images, just kind of seeing what that facility looked like. So I'm kind of using that as a base in case you're interested, find that interesting at all. That's kind of what I'm doing here in the meantime as I research that, put together some of these structures here and start looking up windows and things of that nature and colors and all that fun stuff. So that's something I'm going to be working on in the meantime. I'll have more updates, hopefully as I work along that process. But for now, I'm going to wrap it up here. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. I'm hoping to have, about weekly videos, updates permitting. And if I don't have updates on the layout, we might just do some rail fanning because, that's kind of fun too, right? So yeah, if you haven't subscribed, please do so. If you like the video, feel free to hit the thumbs up at the bottom as well. So more to come in the future. And as always, guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.